How's it going, guys? Jeff Corns here. I'm here with Discmania CEO Jussi Meresmaa.
Hello.
And we're going to do a little AMA video, a little Ask Me Anything. We got some questions lined up for him, and let's see what he's got to answer.
Let's get it started.
First, I want to say that I love Discmania and their products. Thanks for all that you guys do. I was curious why there aren't any understable discs slower than a distance driver.
Thank you for the feedback. We always love to have all kind of feedback, and what comes to the more understable, slower discs, we are mainly concentrated first for the advanced and pro players, but obviously we are slowly, gradually going to do a slower and more understable discs too, but not necessarily in the next few months, but definitely we're going to take that feedback. So you'll see.
Do you listen to the rapper Lil Uzi Vert?
No, but as rappers, I would say that G-Eazy and Kendrick Lamar are on my list at the moment.
Good choices. What would you do to disc golf or disc golf related if someone gave you $1 million to spend on the sport?
With $1 million, at the moment I would like to invest all that for a better course infrastructure, not necessarily in a certain country but globally. So I would like to see more quality courses closer to the bigger population areas. So I would say that more courses, and there we can actually get the best bang for the buck for disc golf.
Cool. Do you think we'll see another run of Glow FDs this year?
Yes, we have this new program called the Specialty Plastics, and it means that we are going to kind of make a special plastic versions from our models, and I think the FD will see something coming out this year, probably more than a color glow scene.
Cool. If you could create another type of plastic for Discmania discs, what would it be like and what would you call it?
I have to say that it would be some sort of a premium plastic. I think there is still room to improve with the plastics, and especially with the higher end level. So I would say something what is obviously visually appealing but also really durable. So something maybe, it's hard to say because we're not really in the plastics. We are basically distribution and marketing, but I would say something that looks really cool and it's also durable.
What type of disc do you think is missing from the Discmania lineup?
Our lineup is actually pretty good. We have over 20 molds, and I have to say that we definitely are looking into the more high-speed drivers. I mean, we have obviously DD2, DDX, and a PD2, but I think there is more room for another, long-distance high-speed driver.
Sweet. Do you look for players to sponsor anywhere other than the Combine?
It depends. I mean, obviously we can't bring Combine to every place, so we have to basically play by the ear. So, but the Combine is our main way to get in our team. So I encourage everybody to look for nearest Combine event for this season too. But of course we want to want to have an eyes open for opportunities. So don't hesitate to approach us, and we will give you an answer.
Cool. Do you have a box of first run FDs somewhere, and how much are they?
I have a lot of boxes out there, but I'd have to say that I'm not a big disc collector. We do have boxes of older stuff stashed away just because we want to always have these little treats on our bigger events or special campaigns, but not so much. But yeah, we do have some.
Do you think we'll ever see the FD2 in S-line plastic?
We're actually working something around the FD2 at the moment. So fairly soon we have news about FD2. So it's actually going to be reinvented.
That sounds exciting. What is your favorite American beer?
I don't know if you believe this, but I have never had an American beer.
Ooh, we have to come up to Oregon. We got some good stuff up there.
All right.
Next Discmania putter, maybe a P4 with a thumb track?
Just came with the P3X. It's a great putter, and I think pretty much we're good for our lineup for now. I mean, there are things that we can do like plastic and mold combination wise. So that is not in our near plans to have a new putter.
Do you think we'll see something like an FD4 in the works, something more stable than an FD3?
FD3 is fairly stable. I mean, upcoming versions of the FD3s are really good, and at the moment we don't have a plan for a more overstable fairway driver.
Aside from some of the big obvious names like Paul, Ricky, Simon, Eagle, or Nate, who do you see being the next breakout player on tour this year?
Well, from Discmania I would say we have a couple of really good candidates, Grady Shue and Nate Perkins. Those guys obviously are already known inside the sport, but I think they have a great potential to be on the next level this year. And from the other teams, I would say Kevin Jones. He's a really exciting player, so I'm looking forward to see him play this year.
Awesome. When a new mold comes out, what's the process of deciding if it makes your bag?
Every new mold makes my bag, so basically I want to test them and throw them at least some point of the time. And for my bag at the moment, it's really everything. So I like to experiment different discs and drives and shots also on the course, so I would say that every single disc makes my bag for at least some time.
Along that same lines, do you think we'll ever see an updated in the bag from you?
I don't know. This is a question that I haven't got for a long time, but definitely if something if that pops up more often, we can do it.
Cool. Can we expect to see a greater availability in production molds and all plastics this year?
Yes, that's our main goal. I mean, over the last couple of years, we've been known as a brand that are always out of discs, and that is our biggest plan at the moment. And you know, our commitment that we definitely want to serve dealers and the individuals better with all kind of our stable discs and most popular models.
Over the years of being involved in the sport at all levels, what have you found to be what drives you more and more every day to be as successful as you are?
The main thing that drives me for this is that if I can be part of inspiring a person to become a disc golfer or just start a new hobby, that's basically it. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything big, but especially working with players like Simon and Eagle and having, you know, them to inspire people. I want to help them to be more available for, you know, fans and everybody, and that's it. I mean, I want to work on the background, and of course I'm happy to see that disc golf is growing, but I would say it's when I see somebody who has such a big excitement of the disc golf, I think that's the main thing.
Where do you see the sport in the next 5 years, and where do you see yourself in it?
Well, sport is not going anywhere for sure. It's growing all the time. I mean, the number of new courses coming in, both US and Europe, and worldwide, it's a great pace. I think we just need to be patient. We can't put the, how you say in here, you can't put the cart in front of the horse. Mm-hmm. So building infrastructure is really important, and Discmania and myself, we want to be even stronger part of the disc golf in the 5 years. So I see our company having a huge potential on growth, especially in the US and globally too, and we can definitely be a bigger player in 5 years.
Do you think we'll see the Metal Flake FD come back around in sale this year?
All those special plastics are in rotation, so mm-hmm. we can rotate the models and the plastics. So I think the Metal Flake is there in the rotation.
Cool. What are your 3 favorite courses you've played in the U.S.?
In the U.S., I think I have played approximately 20-30 courses, so not so much. I mean, I like a couple of those Charlotte courses, even they are mm-hmm. painful to play, but I mean, there are a couple of good ones. I have played pretty much all the courses near here in Rancho, and of course the Rock Hill, Winthrop, and how can I say? I mean, tournament-wise, of course, the USGGC, the Winthrop Gold, is definitely one of those courses, and I would put a, what is that in Charlotte? It's not the Renaissance, but the other that is played in multiple times in a bigger tournaments. I don't remember the name.
Not super familiar with Charlotte.
Yeah,
there's
one
some
of those
cool courses over there.
Yeah, and if I want to pick one course from California, it's definitely not very known course, and it's not any big course, but Mount Brightwood. It's pretty nice to play. It's a fresh air and totally different environment.
Cool. What's the story behind the names and the designs of the old school stamps like the Freak and the Jackal? And are those fading away, or do you think we'll see more of those implemented in the future?
Well, the story is that originally Discmania, the naming system was be as simple as possible. So we had P, MD, FD, D, PD, DD, and so on. And after the first year, we had a discussion with Innova owners that they thought that, okay, the discs would sell better with names. So then we basically came up with this naming machine, Maniac names. And we started to put those names and also new graphics and pictures on the discs. And after maybe 3-4 years, 4 or 5 years, we decided to go back to the roots, so more simplified Scandinavian design. So those going to be our retro stamps, and we might play with them, I mean, for some special releases, but they're not coming back as a whole lineup. But
not as a stock run, but more of a special production.
Absolutely. So it was kind of an experiment when we started to do those, and they were mainly for D line and an S line. So, for example, the C line has always been clean Scandinavian style. So we might see them as a special runs.
Cool. My favorite all-time disc that you guys have produced is the Pearly Swirly Third Run FD, and I love the flight of it. Do you ever think we'll see that flight replicated ever again?
The third run FD?
Yeah, the third runs were a little more stable, but not quite as much as the second runs.
Oh yeah. All this run thing is kind of interesting. I mean, nowadays when the production is more consistent, we are not having that much of variety. And I think that, first of all, when we did those different first and second and third runs almost on every disc, we also were experimenting what was kind of an ideal plastic. So, and some of those runs are really hard to mimic. So, for example, we have had a countless of requests for second round FDs or first run PDs or first run P2s, but it's not really in our hands how they will turn out. But of course, if something is really popular and we see that, okay, there's a benefit to try to mimic and make it, we might do it. But in general note, we are always trying to make the most consistent and the newest plastics we have.
What's your least favorite disc you guys make, and why?
Kind of like all our discs, there are a couple discs that are to be discontinued, like the Gremlin or GM and MD1 eventually. I would say the GM was the disc that never really made it through, and we didn't have many runs of that at all. So I would say that if I need to pick any, that would be the GM.
Do you think we'll see more mid-ranges like MD3s and MD4s in D-line, X-line, R-Pro, or stiff P-line plastic this year?
Yes, again, the rotation of the specialty plastics and similar like these. So I think we are already planning to make the P-line MD4, which will be, at least I think it's going to be a good success.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, but I don't really have the, firm timetable for that. But definitely we're going to have a couple more baseline MD discs in the future.
Awesome. Who has more say in the disc supply, like what you guys produce? Is it the pros on your team or the fans and what they want?
Depends. I mean, obviously we listen to our pros and we fully want to make discs for them too, but at the end of the day, of course, we need to, listen to consumer as a whole. Either as a fan or just a casual player, we want to do what sells, and of course we also want to create something that sells. So it's a combination of all, I would say. Our lineup is actually, as we already discussed, it a little pro heavy, but of course we need to work with the M type of discs too.
What does it take to get sponsored by Discmania? What are you looking for mainly?
Well, the combine. So first of all, you need to check our combine events. I'm not sure if we have already announced them for this year, but it will be soon. So combine is a kind of a concept that you can get into our team. It combines different skills from putting to driving, and also the mental side when you play the game, and that's the best way to get on the team. But of course, if there are open applications to us, we would like to know, of course, who you are, where you're from, what you do, what's your background, what you have done in disc golf, and of course, what are your plans for disc golf. So we get a lot of requests for team and sponsoring requests, and we try to handle all of them.
When are we getting another run of swirly PD2s? Specialty plastic?
Again, yes. So it's in a rotation, and I can't really say exact time, but I think that particular disc is coming at some point this year.
Sweet. Do you know how many different stamp colors were made for the Kona Piste Open swirly DDXs?
No, I can't answer to that, sorry.
Now that Discmania will be you might have to clear this up. Now that Discmania will be manufacturing the disc separately from Innova, will the plastic blends become more distinct from their Innova counterparts?
Well, this is actually not true. So we are not manufacturing our own discs. Innova is still doing them, and we are happy to have this cooperation. We are distributing them now exclusively, so that's the main change. So nothing has really changed as a dealer or a consumer side. Of course, everybody is now making business directly with us. But we have now the distribution in the US, and all the Discmania related stuff are going through us, but we are not manufacturing our discs.
If you could make an exact copy of a certain run of disc, what would that be?
My favorite would be the first run S-Line PD. We made that run 10 years ago, and at that point I was really into that we would have a really clean design and really only few colors. So for example, that's a special run for colors too. I think that is one of the only runs that we have only one color. So it's like a Discmania yellow first run S-Line plastic. Really good because it's not that super overstable, but it does everything.
Is the Disc Golf World Tour going to return in 2019?
No information about return yet. I mean, we're now concentrating to Discmania distribution in the US. That takes all our time now, and as I said in the earlier interviews, we are looking into the 2019 and possibly 2020. So it depends greatly how our negotiations with the sponsors go.
What top touring pro would you sign to Discmania if you could?
Well, this means that top touring pro is already sponsored by somebody else. Well, we're not really hunting other players out there. We want players to be ready to represent us, and of course it has to be a chemistry between us and the pro. There are a lot of good and great personalities and players we would like to associate, but I can't really throw a name here at this point. But of course we're always open for discussions.
Is there any chance that we could see white or light blue G-line plastic?
That's a good question. I can't really answer that. It's more like the production question, and I would say that whatever we do is a variety of the colors. So it might be there or might be not, but can't answer that.
What's your favorite disc at the moment?
My favorite disc at the moment is P2. Whatever plastic it is, it's in my bag. So I never leave to the course without a P2.
Do you think you can beat Austin Montgomery in a ping pong match?
Yes.
I like that. Along with the Disc Golf World Tour, do you ever think we'll see it back in La Mirada?
That is unlikely. I mean, we had a great first opening event there, and according to the feedback and our experiences there, it's not ideal place for disc golf tournament because of it's in one of the biggest cities in the U.S. and it's also a public park. So when and if the World Tour comes back, it needs to be bigger. So that will also create more issues in the parks like that. But Lameride is a great place for maybe a little smaller events.
When do you think we'll see more Discmania apparel?
Soon. I would say that this is the same question than last year. Yeah, last year the MD4, so when there is a Finnish summer.
Exciting. The FDX seems to be a kind of a popular name among the community, being a stable to overstable FD without compromising the glide like the FD2 does. Is this just an idea in the works, or do you prefer the FD as a neutral flyer? Do you think we'll see something along the FDX lines in the future?
Well, we're working now with the reinvented FD2, and there's going to be more information soon, maybe during the spring. And I think the FD lineup is one of our most important lineup. I mean, in my opinion, you need to have those trusty fairway drivers, whatever they are. I mean, FDs are one of the most sold discs. FD3s, you don't need to have an introduction for a overstable fairway driver. So now what we are working on is something between there, and I think we have found it.
That's awesome. When can we expect to see a truly overstable mid like a Gator, a Zone, or a Justice? I think the MD family would really be complete with something like this.
Yeah, the MD4 that came out last year was a great addition, but also it's like a compromise of the distance and the stability. So we are currently on our R&D crew. We are working on a more overstable mid-range disc. I can't really say what it's going to be and when it's going to come out, but we're working on something that doesn't fly that much.
That's awesome. Do you think it'd be possible for Discmania to add some sort of list or on the website or something along that lines of run numbers that have been made for each mold, or possibly put a distinguishing feature for the most popular molds?
Yes, it's going to be a really tall task because we have gone through so many runs. For example, the PD, we have made 10 runs, and 11th is coming. This might be some sort of a project that we want to take on, and maybe, I mean, I'm not the right person anymore to tell those runs because they go past pretty fast. But it's a good idea, and we have been actually talking, inside of the company that we should provide something more helpful and more inside information about the runs, and we definitely have a lot of that, but it's just the time and the resource question. But I definitely want to put this on our agenda again, so thanks for the feedback.
That's all the questions that I have. Do you have any kind of announcements or anything you'd like to talk about before we finish up?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was great to have you here, Jeff, and making this for us, because I think it's important for Discmania that we are as close as possible for you as a Discmania or just a disc golf fan. And through these kind of videos, we want to give you more information about our discs and lineup. And this 2018 is a year of the Shield, so Discmania is coming strong in giving more information, inspiration for everybody on disc golf. And I think that the best thing what you can do there is follow our social media accounts. Also sign on our YouTube account, because we're going to start pushing disc golf videos there fairly soon. And never hesitate to contact directly to us. We try our best to give you all the information you want and need. So thank you for all, and let's make this the year of the Shield.
Awesome, that's exciting. Do you want to talk about the stack of discs that's in front of you at all?
Oh yeah, we can talk about this too. So by this video is out, by the time we have released a new Simon Lizotte disc, so this is going to be our first release of the signature line of 2018. It's called the Sky God, no less or more than God. So Simon wanted to have something special for his back, and we created this really nice new stable C-line P2. And the Sky God, it will be released on 21st of February, and it will be available through Discmania store and of course all through our dealers.
Awesome, that's exciting as well.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for joining us here today, guys, and thank you for joining me, Jussi. It was a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Jeff. Reinvent your game.
Year of the Shield, guys. Keep in touch.